Okay, today I am starting to put in the inside compartments on the bench. The area is down under here where that thing's going to sit, and the compressor. And I'm just going to start by nothing fancy, just throwing up a couple of walls in there. And I'm just going to use some plywood, and I'm going to fasten them directly to these 2x4s. For the walls, I'm using this material right here. This is just some a piece of plywood that was left over from that bottom shelf. Well, I put the compressor over there. I just don't like it here. I don't like the idea of the dust coming down on it. I thought I would be able to put a board going across there, but if I did that, it makes it hard to get the compressor in and out of there. And so I'm just going to use this space a little differently. It's going to kind of be a dust collector. And I'll put some shelves on either end of it, and just going in a few inches, keep some nails and boxes and stuff like that. This end over here, I'm going to leave it open so that I can get the vacuum hose and stick it in there. So that means I've got to frame out underneath for where I'm going to move that compressor to. And I just need a couple of nailers for where I'm framing it out, and so that's just what I'm about to do. Dangerous. I like this fence. It works great. Yeah, it's not exactly in half, but it's the height that I really need. I'm just gonna nail it up and or screw it up rather, and use this surface right here for the nailing. All right. Well, I need to get set up for a cut to finish out this wall right here. It's 8 7/8, and so I'm going to get set up for that. And what I did though is I moved this little hose from the shop vac right up against the saw blade, not against the saw blade, but under it. And I just want to see if I turn that thing on while I cut, how much of the dust it collects. I'm going to get you set up so that you're looking right at that saw blade. All right, so from right here you can see I did vacuum that out to begin with so that there was no sawdust in there. And I just put that hose going right up, centered right underneath the saw blade. Okay, the lighting might be a little bit off. I have to apologize for that. Turn this thing on. Hopefully that hose stays on. Well, I think I got some of it. It's, I noticed some sawdust flying around up top a bit. Okay, I want to do it again just to test and see how much there is without that hose. I'm doing an exact cut of the last one that I did for scientific purposes. All right, well, I can hardly tell the difference. Maybe I have to put that hose somewhere else. That was my last cut for this one of these walls. See how it fits. Basically, that's the wall right there. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. I'll just glue that and tack it up there. Well, I just put in that last wall right over there. Now I want to mess around with this shop vac for a minute. So I want to be able to come out of there and create my own sort of hose system that goes around this table. So I have outlets at various places, and I've got this PVC that is very close. It's just like within 1/8 of an inch of fitting nicely. It's just a little bit too big. And so I heard that you can use a heat gun to shrink it in a little bit. So I'm just going to try that, just to roll that end over there. I've got it on the lowest setting right now. Yeah, perfect. That worked great. So this end should now be able to fit down right in that shop vac end. You go over there and check it out. Good, nice and snug. That's great. Yeah, so when I try that end, it is not going in. This end now, there we go. That's in there really perfectly. Excellent. Time to do a little summary of what I've accomplished for today, aside from making a big mess. So I got this vacuum in place, and I got the air compressor in place. The vacuum, I've got it plumbed out with this PVC and one outlet over here and another outlet on the other side over here by the router. So an outlet by the saw and an outlet by the router, where I can just plug in the vacuum tube and make quick work of any messes. And on the air compressor, I do have it all plumbed up, and I put this fitting for it right here. And so whenever I need air, that's all I've got to do. I've got it located right here because I think that I'll be using it. I would need the air gun over here in the event, the rare occasion that I actually use an air gun. Then, but it's kind of cool. And on the door, when I get the door installed on these things, I know it's going to cut down on the sound for the air compressor and the shop vac. And I will put a little hanger on the door so that when it closes, this thing here, this hose, will be readily accessible.